Hey guys, it's Chris from Highline Guitars and you're watching another episode of From the Luthier's Workbench. This episode is going to be an update on current projects as well as kind of a teaser for projects that I'm going to be starting here pretty soon. And to begin with, I've got the red Echo guitar that I've been working on, and it's pretty much almost fully complete. The only thing I have left to do is the truss rod cover, which I am currently in the process of putting finish on, and then hopefully later today I'll be able to install that, and then I'll do the strap buttons, and then this guitar will be done. And if you'll remember, this was the guitar that has the carbon fiber plate sandwiched between the bottom of the neck heel and the bottom of the neck pocket in the body, and that was done to reinforce this really thin area of wood. And that was kind of a controversial topic I discovered. And it seems like a lot of people really thought it was a cool idea, and some people even suggested that I should make that a permanent feature on my guitars. But there were a few folks who expressed disagreement that it would have any sort of beneficial effect on the guitar. But I think a lot of those people they're the guys that always feel this intense, compelling need to prove to everybody how intelligent they are. And in truth, they often just don't see what's going on and fully grasp what it is that I'm trying to do. And the only thing I was trying to do with that is prevent this thin area of wood from cracking either on the center seam line or along this edge here on both sides. And this carbon fiber plate that I fabricated for it reinforces it and prevents that piece of wood from absorbing excessive amounts of force when the guitar is roughly handled. So it should prevent that wood from cracking. In terms of stability, I don't really notice that it's any more or any less stable than pretty much any guitar with this sort of a neck to heel or neck to body joint. It seems to be pretty stable. It's holding its tuning quite nicely. It's fully intonated, so I don't have any issues with that. So I'm not going to be too concerned about it. I'll finish this guitar, I'll shoot some photos of it, and then I'll post it up for sale. And if the buyer eventually decides that there's issues with tuning or whatever, when I sell these on Reverb, I always offer them with a 2-week warranty. So if you get the guitar and you decide that it's not quite what you wanted, or it isn't playing the way you wanted or whatever, you've always got 2 weeks to return them. And out of all the guitars I've sold over the years, both on Reverb, eBay, and elsewhere, I think I've only had 1 or 2 returned. And usually in those circumstances, it was a little bit of buyer's remorse. Maybe they bought it and decided they needed the money for something else. Anyway, it's not like you're locked in. If you get this guitar and you decide, I'm not too sure about that, you can always send it back and I'll offer a refund. The other guitar that I'm working on is it is my Bravo design. And this is one that I featured in a recent video where I talked about in detail all my techniques for applying water-based finishes. And I actually had this thing buffed up to a high-gloss mirror-like shine, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. But I decided to make a change. I had the gloss on the neck as well, and I just don't like the way gloss feels on the back of the neck. It has that kind of a sticky feel, and especially as your hands get moist from sweat or whatever, it can feel sticky. And so what I decided to do was to sand it down and then apply a flat sheen finish, which I can rub down with some 4/0 steel wool to get that really satiny smooth neck feel. And that's what I've got. But in the process of doing that, of course I get overspray onto the body because I didn't do a great job of masking it off, which is no big deal because then I just masked off the neck and then resanded the surface of the body and then sprayed a few more coats of Crystal Lax Bright Tone gloss instrument finish. And now it's just curing out. I'm waiting for the bridge, which in this case is going to be a hip shot 6-string hardtail, as well as I'm going to use hip shot locking tuners on the headstock. And I'm just waiting for those to get here. Originally I was planning to use a Gato bridge, but one of the things you'll notice with different brands of bridges, even if it's the same style, like a tremolo or a hardtail, the different brands have different mounting points, and oftentimes they're just slightly different dimensions on the base plates, so things don't always work out the way you want them to. And this guitar really needs to work with a hip shot. So I went ahead and put in an order for those, and I should be getting that shortly. But in the meantime, I'll let this clear coat fully cure, then I'll wet sand it back, and I'll buff it up to a high gloss shine just prior to doing the final assembly. So that will finish out this guitar, and at that stage I'll be ready to dive into the next couple of projects. For the next couple of guitar builds, I'm going to be shooting video for upcoming episodes of From the Luthier's Workbench, where again I'll be talking about some different finishing products. And you know, the thing is, when it comes to building guitars, as far as the mechanical functionality of guitars, they really haven't changed a whole lot, so there isn't a whole lot of new information to talk about with regards to the components or the wood selection and that sort of thing. And you know, every now and then a new bridge comes out or a new pickup design, but for the most part they stay pretty much the same. But where there seems to be a lot of changes with regards to finishes. And in the recent episode, I talked about my techniques for applying water-based finishes, and I focused on Crystal Lac products, namely their Bright Tone Clear Coat and their Craftnique color pigments. And I'm going to continue that with one of my next builds, because what I'm going to do is I want to do a gold top design or a gold top finish similar to the Les Paul gold tops that came out in the late 50s. And to do that, I'm going to be using Crystal Lac's Craftnique metallic pigments. These are brand new, they've just come out, and I'm going to be mixing up a color and probably just putting some of this into some of the Bright Tone and then spraying it on. And then I want to do a gloss clear coat finish on the top of the guitar, and then a matte finish on the back of the guitar and the back of the neck. And to do that, I'll be using Crystal Lac's Bright Tone in a matte finish. And this is brand new. In fact, as I'm shooting this right now, I don't even think it's available on their website yet. They just started formulating this. And they sent me a sample to try out on this next guitar. And so that's going to be available. So you'll have your choice of gloss or a matte finish. And then I suppose if you want to do something in between, you can get one of each and mix the two. So that will be for one guitar. For the build that will come after that, I'm going to do a transparent finish on a flame maple top mahogany bodied guitar. And I'll probably do, what I'm thinking is I may use the Craftnique colors to do a transparent burst effect. And that's something I'll probably spray. And we'll see, you know, as I get closer to that, how I plan to do it. But I'll be, of course, shooting video of that whole process. Or at least, you know, giving you kind of an overview of it. I don't know if I'll do a step-by-step. Those take a tremendous amount of time. But for the clear coat, I'm going to be using a totally different product. I'm going to be using, it's called, I Can't Believe It's Not Lacquer. And this is from the folks at Solar Res. Now, if you've been watching my videos in the past, you'll know that in a previous episode that I did a while back, a couple of years ago, I talked about how to apply Solar Res UV curable gloss polyester resin to a guitar body. And that got a lot of folks interested, and as a result, the folks at Solar Res were dealing with a lot of luthiers, and there was a lot of exchange of information there. And I think the folks at SolarRes decided that they wanted to try and formulate a product specifically for luthiers, because that polyester resin is really meant for, it was originally designed for the surfboard industry, and it's just been kind of repurposed for other opportunities like building guitars and pool cues and fishing lures and all sorts of things. But this product is specifically formulated for guitar builders, and although it can be used for a wide variety of different products. But what it is basically is it's a lot like the previous polyester with one major difference. It's not as hard. Polyester, when it cures, is so hard. It's bowling ball hard, and it's incredibly difficult to level sand prior to buffing it up to a high gloss finish. And it's also, polyester can be a little bit tricky to apply. It's somewhat temperature sensitive. And if the temperature isn't just right, you can have tiny little pinhole bubbles in it. So what they did was they formulated a new product, and this uses a totally different kind of resin. Well, I shouldn't say totally different, just very different, or not the same as polyester. I'm not a chemist, so I'm not going to get into that. But what it does is it cures to a very scratch-resistant surface, but it's still much easier to sand than the polyester, so you don't have to spend as much time working on it. It also seems to be much more forgiving in terms of temperature. But some of its other features are it's non-flammable, and it has almost no odor to it. When I opened up this can, I was surprised. There's very little odor to it. And it is zero VOC, and VOC is volatile organic compounds, and that's what manufacturers use to determine whether a product is safe for the environment, or safe for our lungs, I guess. And this product has zero VOC, so it's much friendlier chemically. But probably the biggest feature that I like the most about it is it's UV curable, and that means you can brush or you can spray. This product has a viscosity that's sprayable, and then you can take it out into bright sunlight, and within about a minute or two it is bone dry cured, and then you can level sand and buff it. So you can go from applying, curing, level sanding, and buffing it up to a high gloss finish in a couple of hours. So you get up in the morning, start your work, and have a guitar completely finished in terms of the clear coat before lunch. So that's a real nice feature of this product. However, I should note, as a disclaimer, this is not a water-based product, not like the Bright Tone. If you want to go water-based, I encourage Crystalac Bright Tone. This product to clean up requires acetone, so you would clean up your spray gun and such with acetone. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, I'm really excited to try this product. I think it's going to be a game changer for those of you who aren't as concerned about using water-based. So we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much where things are headed and what I plan to be doing in upcoming episodes. I hope that will keep you all tuned in. And as always, hit that like button, leave comments, click subscribe. And until the next episode, have a great week, a great weekend, and we will see you soon.